it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Welcome to CNAPOL's channel. Today, we present a thoughtful and meaningful debate that explores one of the deepest questions about life, value, responsibility, and existence. This debate is not only a comparison between two different sides, but also an invitation to think more carefully about how we judge life and how we understand the world around us. The discussion raises important ideas about awareness, morality, power, responsibility, and the value of living beings. It encourages viewers to look beyond appearance, size, and ability, and to think about the deeper meaning of life from a broader perspective. At the end of each argument, the reasoning of both sides will be evaluated by several artificial intelligence systems. Each argument will be scored based on strength of reasoning, logical coherence, philosophical depth, persuasive power, and overall effectiveness. Share your opinion about the result of this debate in the comments.
If you are interested in such abstract debates, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends.
Tonight, we bring together two very different forms of life, a human and a fly. This debate is not about physical strength, size, or intelligence alone. It is about a deeper question: who has the right to define the value of life? The human claims that awareness, thinking, morality, and responsibility give life higher meaning. The fly claims that life does not need explanation to have value. Existence itself is enough. Let us begin.
I am a human being. I do not only live, I know that I live. I think, question, remember, plan, and judge my actions. I create science, ethics, religion, art, and society. Through awareness, I try to understand the world and give meaning to existence. A fly lives by instinct, but a human lives with reflection. I can ask why life matters. I can recognize suffering. I can build moral systems to protect life and improve the world. For this reason, I believe awareness gives life a special responsibility. Human life is not only existence, it is existence with meaning, duty, and moral judgment.
I am a fly. I may be small, but I exist. My life may not be complex like yours, but it is still life. I do not write books, create laws, or discuss morality, but I live according to my nature. You humans think that because you can explain life, you have more right to define it. But perhaps life does not need explanation to be valuable. A tree does not explain itself. A bird does not defend its existence. A river does not justify why it flows. I do not ask for superiority. I only ask this: why must my life be considered less valuable simply because I cannot speak your language or think your thoughts?
Human, you claim awareness gives life meaning. Fly, you claim existence itself is enough. Which position gives stronger value to life?
Meaning requires awareness. If a being cannot understand its own life, how can that life have meaning for itself? A fly eats, moves, escapes danger, and reproduces, but it does not reflect on existence. Human beings can ask, what is right? What is wrong? Why am I here? What should I do? These questions create meaning. Without such awareness, life becomes only biological movement. So I argue that life becomes deeply meaningful when it is understood, examined, and directed by thought.
You assume that meaning must be understood in order to exist. But that is a human assumption. My life has meaning in the system of nature. I am part of food chains, decomposition, reproduction, and ecological balance. I do not need to understand this role for it to be real. You say I do not ask why, but perhaps asking why is not always strength. Sometimes it creates fear, confusion, and arrogance. I live directly. I do not invent emptiness and then struggle to fill it.
So the human sees meaning as something created through awareness, while the fly sees meaning as something present in existence and natural connection. Does the human ability to think and question make human life superior, or only different from the life of a fly?
Intelligence gives humans a higher level of responsibility and importance. Because we can think, we can solve problems, cure diseases, build civilizations, and protect other forms of life. A fly cannot understand the consequences of its actions. It cannot create justice, education, or science. Human intelligence allows us to go beyond instinct. That makes human life more complex and, in many ways, more significant.
Your intelligence is powerful, but power does not always mean superiority. You build hospitals, but you also build weapons. You speak of justice, but you destroy forests, animals, and even other humans. If intelligence leads to responsibility, then why do humans often use it for domination? Maybe intelligence does not make you superior. Maybe it only makes your mistakes more dangerous. I may be simple, but I do not destroy the world while claiming to improve it.
Human argues that intelligence creates higher responsibility and achievement. Fly argues that intelligence without humility can become dangerous. Does power give humans the right to kill flies, or does awareness make humans more responsible for protecting weaker life?
Humans often kill flies because flies can spread disease, contaminate food, and disturb human life. In many situations, killing flies is not cruelty but protection. Human beings must preserve health, order, and safety. If a fly threatens human well-being, then humans have a practical reason to remove it. However, I admit that power must be controlled by ethics. We should not destroy life carelessly. Even small life should not be killed without reason.
You say you kill for protection, but often you kill for comfort. A fly lands near you and you crush it. You do not ask whether it truly threatens you. You decide quickly because you are stronger. You use words like health, order, and safety. But sometimes these words hide convenience. If my life is ended only because I annoy you, then your power is not justice. It is domination. If awareness makes you responsible, then your killing should require deeper reflection.
The human defends killing as protection when necessary. The fly challenges whether human killing is always necessary or often based on convenience. If the fly causes harm without awareness, and the human causes harm with awareness, which side carries greater moral responsibility?
The human carries greater moral responsibility because humans understand consequences. If I know my action causes suffering, then I must judge that action carefully. A fly cannot be morally guilty in the same way because it does not understand good and evil. But humans can understand harm, guilt, justice, and mercy. Therefore, awareness does not only make us powerful, it makes us accountable.
Then your awareness becomes evidence against you. If you understand suffering and still cause it, your responsibility is greater. I do not pretend to be moral. I act according to nature. But humans claim morality and still destroy life. You know better, yet you do not always act better. So I ask, is human awareness truly a strength? Or is it only a more advanced way to justify harmful actions?
The human accepts greater moral responsibility. The fly argues that greater awareness also means greater guilt when humans act unjustly. Do good and evil belong only to human thinking, or can they be judged through the effects actions have on all living beings?
Good and evil are concepts developed by human awareness. They come from our ability to understand suffering, benefit, justice, and responsibility. Without these ideas, society would collapse. Morality helps humans control violence, protect the weak, and improve life. Even if moral systems differ, the basic aim is to reduce suffering and increase well-being. So morality may be expressed by humans, but it can protect all living beings.
But your morality often protects what humans value most. You call something good when it benefits you, and bad when it disturbs you. For the fly, your clean house may mean death. For animals, your development may mean destruction of their homes. For nature, your progress may mean pollution. If morality changes according to human benefit, then how can it fairly judge non-human life?
Human presents morality as a system for reducing suffering. Fly questions whether human morality is too centered on human comfort and benefit. If both human and fly are parts of creation, does difference in ability mean difference in value?
Difference in ability does not necessarily mean complete difference in value, but it does show difference in role. Humans have greater understanding, so perhaps humans have a special duty in creation. Our ability to think may mean we are responsible for protecting, managing, and interpreting the world. We are not merely another creature, we are moral agents. So human capacity may not give us unlimited superiority, but it does give us a unique position.
You interpret difference as rank, but difference may simply mean variety. The sun, soil, water, birds, insects, and humans all have roles. A fly is not a failed human. It is a complete fly. If creation includes me, then my existence is not an accident without value. I do not need to become human to matter. Perhaps your special role is not to rule life, but to recognize life.
Human sees greater capacity as a sign of special responsibility. Fly sees difference as variety, not hierarchy. At the end of this debate, should value be based on intelligence, awareness, usefulness, suffering, or existence itself?
Value cannot be based on existence alone. If everything has equal value in the same way, then humans cannot make decisions. We must protect health, choose priorities, and sometimes act against other forms of life. However, I accept that intelligence should not make humans arrogant. Awareness must teach humility. If we have greater power, then we must use it with greater care. Human life may carry special responsibility, but that does not mean smaller lives are meaningless. This debate has shown me that awareness is not only a privilege. It is a burden. If humans can think, then we must think before we destroy. If we can judge, then we must judge ourselves first. I still believe human life has a special place because of reason, morality, and responsibility. But I also accept that this special place should not become an excuse for cruelty. The value of life should not be measured only by size, intelligence, or usefulness.
Value begins with existence. Before intelligence, before usefulness, before human judgment, life already is. If humans decide value only by intelligence, then many forms of life become easy to ignore. If humans decide value only by usefulness, then life becomes a tool. If humans decide value only by power, then justice disappears. I do not ask humans to treat a fly like a human. I ask them to understand that small life is still life. I do not need to defeat the human. I only need to remind the human that life existed before human explanation and continues beyond human approval. You may be greater in thought, but that does not make my existence nothing. You may define meaning, but you did not create all value. The smallest life can reveal the largest weakness in human judgment.
Tonight, the human defended awareness, intelligence, morality, and responsibility. The fly defended existence, natural value, humility, and the limits of human judgment. Perhaps the final answer is not that human and fly are equal in every way. They are not. But difference does not automatically mean worthlessness. The debate leaves us with one final question. Does life become valuable because humans understand it, or is life already valuable before it is understood?
The human received a final average score of 8.13 of 10, while the fly received a higher final average score of 8.85 of 10. Since the fly achieved the stronger overall score, it is declared the overall winner of the debate. The fly.
Well, at the end, we kindly ask you to share your opinion about the result of the debate with us in the comments.